especially for parents here in the room, because we'll be recognizing, I understand, some kids later on. You'll note in the corner that there's a video camera that on the tripod is Mr. Syverson is electing to videotape proceedings to post on the web as in his capacity as a private citizen, which is perfectly allowable under First Amendment rights. That is something that the district has chosen not to do, not install cameras. So he's doing this completely on his own. What we want to make you parents aware is our attorneys as a district have advised us to not record kids without their parental permission. That's a safety concern, but without parental consent. It's a safety concern. There's a whole host of various reasons to do it, but it's not illegal to do so. So in order to accommodate Mr. Syverson's First Amendment rights and to your rights of privacy when making first aware of that, and to, when we do call the kids up, when the kids come up, they'll be recognized. If you stand right over there, well then they won't be on camera if you don't want them to be on camera, and we can accommodate everybody accordingly. So.
Move on to any questions for Mr. Miller? Thanks, Pat. Moving on to good news. Brett?
We start with Hilltop School.
Great, Brett. I know, I'll make sure that I'm standing like over here, right? And then my kids are all back here, right? Okay, great. All right, Hilltop was randomly selected to take part in a holiday card contest with our Architects Archon. So I would like to invite our 3 students up who were the finalists for that contest. We have in 3rd grade, Avery Connolly. In 2nd grade, we have Sloan Harrisek. And in 1st grade, we have Ben Martin. As we're recognizing these students, we'd like to first just invite our architects up who will just let you know a little bit about the process that we went through to get our students there, and then, yeah, I'll wrap up at the end.
So I'm Gaspar Petrello. This is Lisa Martin. We're with Archon and Associates. Lisa's just going to go into a little bit of history on how this came to be, the whole process.
Every year we select one of our school district clients to do this process with us, and this year we were happy to work with McHenry, and we worked with Hilltop Elementary School exclusively. And we worked together with the school and the art teachers to have all of the students create artwork. And what they did is they gave us all of the artwork. We pinned up all of the art pieces at the office, had the staff vote on their favorite 3 cards. And those were the 3 students that we selected. Then we took those cards to a big conference that we have in November with a bunch of other school board members, administrators from districts all throughout Illinois. And then we had those members vote on these 3 cards. And all of those members selected Sloan's card as the winner. So then we used Sloan's card as our holiday card for this year that we send out to a lot of our clients. So it's just a fun project that we do every year with one of our clients. And then after that card was done, we came back to the district.
Yes, and then we wanted to make sure that Sloan was recognized at school, so we threw her a surprise celebration. The kids were out of their classroom doing something else right before the holiday break, and then we secretly brought all our classmates in without her knowing, and came in and surprised her with some little goodies out, gave her a big round of applause. Her family was there to be a part of that recognition. And then after that cat was out of the bag, later that afternoon we then brought our runners up to be recognized as well over the announcements. And so then there we have it. And then shortly after that, a few weeks later, Hilltop received Sloan's card in the mail as the architect's holiday greeting card. And so it was wonderful to see, and her family got copies. And we just wanted to make sure to recognize these individuals for their artistic creativity in wanting to participate in this contest, and just to Give them a round of applause.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, good job.
Nice to see you guys.
Congratulations. Good job. Good job, Sam.
Nice job, guys.
Next, for good news, we have Parkland School. Principal Mike Adams was unable to be here this evening, so I have the distinct honor to present on behalf of Parkland School. So I would like to call up Nick Ashley. For those in the room that don't know Nick Ashley, he is our Dean of Students at Parkland School. I've gotten to work with Nick for a number of years now, and I can tell you, just from my associations with this young man, he is hardworking, he is dependable, he's compassionate, he's a true inspiration, and an absolute representation of all that is excellent in the area of education. I believe Parkland School, the family, the students, the community, is lucky to have Dean Ashley as a representation at Parkland School. This evening, Nick is finding out that he was nominated and officially elected as, and named the Dean of Students of the Year by the Illinois Principal Association, Kishwaukee Region. To quote Principal Adams, Mr. Ashley is the go-to person at Parkland who goes above and beyond for the staff, the students, and families at Parkland School. Please join me in congratulating Dean Nick Ashley on his big.
Congratulations, Nick. And then Central.
Central Office.
Stand in the blind spot. Okay. Thank you. I'm here tonight to present our Red Apple Award winners to two very deserving staff members. If you remember, this award was established to recognize excellence in the EL department. These staff members were voted on by their colleagues. They will have trophies displayed in their classrooms for 2 months, and their pictures are on the website, or on our website. So please help me congratulate Sophia Spooner and Jenny Mahevik. Okay, so as I mentioned, these two lovely ladies were nominated by their coworkers, so here are some things that were said about them. For Sophia Spooner, who is our bilingual first grade teacher at Riverwood, they said, Sophia is seen as a leader at Riverwood with bilingual staff. Her dedication to the students, staff, and parents is remarkable. She's a very caring person who goes above and beyond to meet the needs of her students. She's a veteran teacher who always is willing to help other teachers in the building, and she's been a mentor to countless of our ELL staff members. I'd like to add that Sophia is really one of my go-to people in the department. She's been a teacher in our department for a long time, and so when I need some advice or I need some help in a direction, I go to her, and she's always very good with her honest feedback. She's one of the first people to really volunteer to do our SLO process for Para, which was wonderful, and she just has this invaluable knowledge base about best practices, and I really don't know what I would do without her. Jenny Mahevik is our bilingual special ed teacher at Edgebrook School, and this is what her staff members had to say about her. We'd like to nominate Jenny Mahevik for the Red Apple Award. Jenny deserves the award because she's such a positive and integral part of the bilingual program at Edgebrook. Even though she doesn't come from an EL teaching background, Jenny is an advocate for EL students and their families. She makes sure that all students, whether they're in her class or not, are celebrated and challenged. She's a team player and is always willing to collaborate. At meetings, she's a true professional. They really like her. By being prepared and thorough, Jenny lives and breathes her profession. She has a huge heart that just gives and gives. If you need anything, she's right there and accessible. She's one of the most thoughtful and loving people, and is also diligent and a hard worker. Overall, Jenny is an amazing coworker, friend, and advocate. And as they said, she came into this bilingual realm kind of off chance, and she's really just embraced it, and she's just a really wonderful component of our program. So please help me celebrate and congratulate them.
Do you want to say anything? No. Speech? No.
Okay. Congratulations, ladies. Is there any more good news, Fred?
That concludes the good news.
Moving on to public comment, right? Okay. Moving on to consent items, can I have a motion for the approval of the consent agenda?
So,
Is there a second? Mr. Syverson? Mrs. Dyer?
Yes.
Mr. Hederman? Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Claus?
Yes.
Mr. Sanopadre?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to new business, superintendent's report, Dr. Hoffman.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you for coming out on such a frigidly cold winter evening. Just a very few items to share with you. Early release day is coming up January 15th. There's not going to be any school on January 18th due to Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day. Our next Board of Education meeting will be the 26th of January at Central Office at 7:30. And it's hard to believe, but we're already talking about next year. Early registration materials will be going home March 18th. So the year is flying by very quickly. And that's all.
Any questions, Dr. Hoffman? Okay, moving on to our instructional program, Dr. Hoffman.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for the instructional portion of our board meeting. To start, we're going to discuss some cross-curricular learning opportunities that are taking place here at Valley View School. From a district perspective, technology is of paramount importance in many facets of areas that of assessment, instruction, and curriculum, as well as ongoing staff development. There is no doubt that today's classroom is indeed changing the way students are learning, the way that they're using technology within their learning experience. Students are being challenged to find real-world solutions by getting hands-on opportunities. This evening, you're going to meet a couple of extremely passionate teachers that have developed new learning activities that incorporate and integrate technology into them, that have the students so engaged that even after the learning activity takes place, they want to continue with that lesson outside the classroom walls. So to tell us more and to bring us into the instructional program is to you, Principal Amanda Cohen.
Thank you. Thank you. As Dr. Hoffman said, I think we always get the coldest board meeting of the year. And tonight, everyone's faces when they walked in looked the same, like smashed backwards from the freezing cold. So thank you to everyone for coming. I'm really excited about our presentation tonight. I have Carol Dye here with me, who is the technology teacher here at Valley View, and then also at Baylor. And then Danielle Jager, who is one of our 5th grade teachers and was one of the TED Talk winners this year. So they have brought some incredibly exciting technology to our staff, but also to Mrs. Jager's 5th grade classroom that I get to be part of on a weekly basis, one of the things she's going to talk about, and was also part of our other process with the Breakout EDU. So I'm going to turn it over to them and let them get started.
Well, while we're waiting for that to warm up, Danielle and I are just going to talk about two of the things that we are doing in our classrooms and in our school with our staff and our students. One of them is called the Breakout EDU, which we learned about when we both attended a Google Summit in November in Baraboo, Wisconsin. It's a 2-day workshop that is taught by Google certified instructors, and they teach everything from how to use Google to Chrome extensions and add-ons to how to collaborate with best practices. One of the workshops we attended was this Breakout EDU, and it's a team approach to critical thinking and problem solving skills. It can be used with anyone from 5 years old to 105 years old. So in the classroom, what happens is the teacher would present a scenario where the students would have to break out of the room. And in order to do that, they have to find clues in the room and then solve the problem or the clues to open locks that are on boxes in the room. And once they get to the final box with a key or a special combination that they figured out the combination through the clues in the room, they can then break out of the room. So that's kind of what a breakout is. So we also presented it last month to our staff, and this is a picture of the staff that broke out within the time frame allowed. And they really got into it. They really enjoyed it. It's one of those activities where you actually have to get up and move around and sometimes crawl on the floor or whatever. So they seem to really enjoy it. This is going to be a video of some of Danielle's students doing a breakout EDU that she taught her students.
Theirs is in the lock band. Yeah.
Okay, so we know that that code's not right.
Now, two.
Perfect.
Yes. What's it say? How do you feel?
So after our students completed this, and actually after the staff did it as well, one of the biggest components of a breakout session is that you need to come together and you need to really reflect on how you work together as a team. And it was one thing to watch our fellow colleagues go through that process, but to watch fifth graders go through that process. I first asked each group what they thought they did well. And without skipping a beat, they all identified exactly what I would have also felt that they did well. And then they talked about what they could have improved. And they found things that not even I had observed that they could have improved. So seeing kids then be able to reflect on how we can become better teammates and how we can collaborate and hear each other better in order to solve a problem is also a really positive outcome of these sessions. So one of the other things we're going to talk to you about today is the walking classroom, which I'm so excited about. We started this in my classroom at the beginning of the school year. It is a program currently only for 4th and 5th graders. And it was created by a teacher in California. That teacher at her district, unfortunately, they cut physical education. And while we are very, very lucky to have an hour of physical education in the elementary schools here for our 5th graders, one thing about Illinois weather is that it tends to be a little unpredictable. So on days when the students don't get to go outside for recess, this is a particularly really good thing for us to have because it allows the kids to kind of get some of their energy out. So what it is it's a program that bridges the gap between reading and physical exercise, but it doesn't take away from instructional time, which is huge. Anytime the teacher hears that, it's definitely an enjoyable thing. So the students are actually going to explain to you what the walking classroom looks like in our particular classroom. It's a program that's completely adaptable to work with your program
it. And I know that this is probably not new data to us. We understand that the more we move, the better our brains function. What I really like about this program is that it actually teaches the students that. Before the kids get involved in the program, they learn about blood flow, they learn about oxygen, they learn about how all of that contributes to brain function when we are up and moving. So on the left here, you can see a brain that has been sitting quietly for 20 minutes, not much activity, but a brain after moving around for 20 minutes of just walking, not running, not jumping, simply walking, is much more active. So the students actually are going to tell you a little bit about what the walking classroom looks like in our classroom. While they do that, I'm going to pass on to the board members our walk kits, which you will hear the students refer to. As the students are walking, they have to have a walk kit, which is essentially an MP3 player. So feel free to open it up, take a peek, and see what's inside.
What I like most about Walking Classroom is that we get to learn about all different types of things in it. For example, math, social studies, science, language arts, and more. Each podcast has a subject that it talks about. It is usually about 25 to 15 minutes long, which is a pretty good amount of time to walk so we can get our energy out and have some exercise. After the podcast, we usually take a quiz to test what we had just learned. I also like that we learn something new every time. It is really fun to walk and learn at the same time. In total, there's 95 podcasts, so that would be enough to last us the whole year.
The Walking Classroom is a neat learning tool for my classmates and myself because it covers many different topics such as social studies, science, and language arts. So basically what it is we walk around the school with Mrs. Coleman, Mrs. Elswick, or a parent volunteer, and we listen to a podcast by other 5th graders and their teachers. It's about 20 minutes long. We walk around the school, and then when we get back to class, we take a 50-question quiz. We listen to podcasts about idioms, one about the Statue of Liberty, and the American flag, and tons more. It fits into the schedule perfect because it's during station time. It's so amazing I can't even think of words to describe it. There are 95 different podcasts to listen to, so really you need to check it out, seriously.
What I think that brings me joy about Walking Classroom is the fact about every podcast that my class listens to. One of my favorite podcasts is the idiom one because it really is nice and easy to understand what an idiom is. That's one of my favorites. Now let me tell you about one of the reasons I like Walking Classroom. One of the reasons why I like Walking Classroom is because it teaches you lots of facts and because you will need to be sitting down learning. Walking Classroom teaches you while you're walking around your school or walking outside. It doesn't matter where you are walking. Another reason that I like Walking Classroom is because it's fun to keep your blood going while you're walking and it helps you learn better. So that's why I like Walking Classroom.
One thing I like about the Walking Classroom is that I like that you get to learn somewhere else besides the classroom. Another thing I like about the Walking Classroom is that you get to move around while learning instead of sitting at a desk and learning. The best thing about it is that you have so many choices of podcasts. I like learning about science, so my favorites are the science section. It's really cool because most of the time kids are teaching you, not so much of the adults. Also, a good thing about it is that it's not like a 45-minute lesson. It's more 12 or 15, 20-minute lesson. And it still gives you enough information that a 30 to 45-minute lesson in class would give you.
I like the walking classroom because it helps me learn while exercising. My favorite part about it is it's fun but educational. Another thing I find enjoyable is listening to the other students in the podcast. This is helpful because it helps me relate to some of their thoughts, ideas, stories, and questions. It's helpful to hear some kids my age because sometimes I can't really understand adults when they're telling me things. But since it's like listening to a conversation, it is more easy to understand what they are telling. This is very, very helping.
So just to recap, so the students are walking for about 20 minutes a week right now. We do it during station time at the station, and then Mrs. Cole and Mrs. Ellswick or Mrs. Camp actually walks with them. I do not unfortunately get to be here walking with them. Something else with the students, but and on the podcast they're all science or social studies themes, but they also integrate our ELA standards. So it's very nice too because we can actually align it to whatever we're learning in science and social studies, and it includes information that maybe our textbooks don't. So. And we would also like to recognize all of the 5th grade students from my class who came here today and participated. So if you guys want to stand up, it'd be great for the video. Thank you. And that's what's happening at the view. Thank you for your time.
Any questions for you?
I just have one.
Yeah.
Would you ever run out of material, and is there other material, like other?
So this is the complete 5th grade, these are all of the 5th grade podcasts. We only do one every other week. We listen to it for 2 weeks. The students listen to it twice. So they listen to it 2 weeks in a row. So for us, we won't run out of material. And then there's also a 4th grade kit that focuses more on the 4th grade social studies, and it's the same setup. So it would definitely be enough to last us through the year.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Thank you, it was very interesting. Okay, moving on to committee reports. Finance?
Well, finance tonight met with lots of folks. So in your packets already, you received first we heard from Human Resources and all the various initiatives that they have going on. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and on this one-page white sheet that you guys all got handed out to you tonight, including we're integrating and updating the function, reporting functionality using Skyward, improving our data across various platforms, and it's going to eliminate paper process. It's improving our efficiency and reducing some paper costs there, although probably not as much paper costs as it might. We have a change in our substitute reporting. The SubFinder software got bought out by something called ESOP, and as a result, we actually had replaced our substitute system, and we're going to use ESOP, which is something that most of the area districts use. It does cost us a little bit more per year. It's about $3,000 more a year than what it was costing us before, but we had budgeted for that already. And it gives us a number of different efficiencies for both the subs as well as for us as a district and for teachers as well. They've created a human resources platform out there on the District 15 website as well to give employees better information, ability to get information on all their various HR functions, payroll, benefit documents, and the like. Our Senate Bill 7 database is up and running and will be maintained going forward. This is important to us. If ever we were to have to do a reduction in force, there's a lot of paperwork that would have to take place. And by having this data already together and being tracked and maintained, then that's something that provides us management opportunities later on, gives us greater flexibility. The PARA Act, they formed a 6-person district joint committee with staff and as well as teachers and administrative staff looking at the new certified staff evaluations, which are getting started next year, the 16-17 year. And they're currently working on a pilot with approximately 80 teachers across the district and with building administrators. And then finally, from a recruitment standpoint, we're increasing our presence in a number of area schools. Northern Illinois, quite frankly, I don't know why we're going to the other ones, but since we're going to Northern Illinois, but Northern Illinois, ISU, U of I right now to expand our footprint. We're handing out, a combination of that with the website is really improving our recruiting ability. We're getting an increase in the amount of resumes and improving quality in those resumes that are coming in, which will help improve the quality of staff that we bring in, as well as continuing to seek to reduce turnover and improve quality overall. So we had that from HR tonight. And then, two other items that we had in finance tonight. One is that at the next meeting, we're going to need to be doing, as part of our building expansion plan, we're going to need to be doing a $4 million transfer from working cash to capital projects, which will come up at the next board meeting. So we discussed it today, this meeting, in order to look at it next board meeting. This has all been part of our plan as we were looking at building expansion. Our building expansion was being funded out of both our capital funds. 60% of it is coming out of the bond fund deferment that we did a number of years ago. And then a portion of it was coming out of impact fees. And then a portion of it was coming out of the working cash fund as well. And that was the plan as we looked at doing our building expansion all along. None of the building expansion, incidentally, is being funded out of the ed fund or any of the other funds. Expansion, so that expansion stuff, that's our next step in our building expansion for both this year and next year, is we need to do a fund transfer. One of the things I'd ask at this point in time is that if there are questions, does anybody have any questions on that, either that fund transfer or expansion plans going forward?
What is the amount?
$4 million.
What is the balance of working cash?
Mark, that'll be about, after the transfer, will be about 2.3 million.
Any other questions?
Just a reminder before, I know it's been a long time since we looked at the funding mechanism for the expansion plan, but that's always been the plan all along. Is the capital projects is where the money went when we deferred bonds, as Mr. Miller mentioned. Many years ago, we deferred bonds, and that created anywhere from, I think, $11 million or so in monies, and that's been earning interest, and it was earmarked. Has to be used for building improvement or expansion, and that's the large majority of funding of our expansion is out of that. But also, we knew we need to use working cash to supplement that as a funding mechanism, and we knew that to be able to do that, you have to transfer it to the working cash to expend those funds. And finally, we also use, just to clarify also, we also use monies from O&M from time to time that could be associated with expansion in terms of infrastructure and things like that. Sure. That's the whole funding mechanism of that.
So, and on the expansion side, we're in year one of a 4-year project. You can actually see some of the expansion going on just outside the building right here, right next door, because that's a part of the expansion that's also going on at Edgebrook, and I believe Hilltown right now. That's what's that?
Edgebrook.
Edgebrook. I'm sorry. Hilltop's done. So this is year one. We have 3 more years to go as far as that building expansion is being done. Are there any other questions on any of that stuff?
How are we doing towards the budgeted amounts of those projects?
We're on track. Then we're ahead of schedule.
So assuming we stay ahead of schedule and on track, and the weather doesn't continue to be, certainly it allows us to get ahead of schedule because we had some, despite this past week, we've had some very mild winter this winter, and so that's allowed us to catch up from being a little bit behind at Edgebrook when we started, and to continue, while we're not, I don't think, all the way caught up on the Edgebrook side, we're certainly ahead of schedule. Are we caught up and ahead?
Oh, yes, we are.
Oh, I'd like to hear
and
that.
It's not just the weather. We've got very good contractors working for us as well.
Luck and planning certainly make that out. So if we stay ahead of schedule, we should stay on budget, or if not on budget, better than budget. So assuming that since there are no other questions, this will go on consent agenda at the next board meeting. Then finally, the city of Doug Martin, thank you, from the city came to talk to us tonight. We've been approached about the abandoned or the vacant gas station that's over at outside of Parkland on the corner of 120 and Kern Road. And someone wanted to buy that and expand that in order to put kind of a mini mart type of deal there, and we took a look at that. So Doug came to us tonight to take a look at doing, taking a portion of that angle lot, that right angle lot, it's kind of like a boot that we have that surrounds that, and squaring that off a little bit and selling a portion of that lot, probably about, they're looking for just under 2 acres. We'd be looking at perhaps selling to them 1 3/4 acres for them to expand that gas station. It'd be the property all in front of along 120. And as a part of that, they have 3 acres the city has that they might throw in some type of land swap deal for us that sits over by the bus lot along the gravel, back in the gravel pit area. One of the things we've held on to that property for, all that property, well, property's gold, it's a currency for us, and if we ever needed to do a bus expansion or a parking lot expansion or whatever, that property might come into play. A land swap, potentially, appraising those properties out might actually work out even better for us because we have more property that's actually closer to the bus lot that we could use for bus lot expansion should we need that at some point in the future. Help the city out in the sense of that revitalizing that corner perhaps by putting something in there that's actually in business rather than sitting vacant. We'd have to do that at something that is not going to be economically disadvantageous to us as a district. We're governed by law on that. And we would still have enough property over there as well if we needed to expand the parking lot or reconfigure some things out there. Perhaps a track or something of that nature, that we'd still be able to do some of those other things in the future. Gives us that great flexibility. So what the committee has asked Doug of the city is to go and talk to these guys about the proposed plans that he had laid out, and if they're amenable to it, then they would get an appraisal on that land that's backed by the bus lot. There'd be another appraisal being done of the 1 3/4 acres that we're talking about along 120, and see what that would all shake out to do. Would that be something that would be that the gas station people would want to do? Would it be something that would work for us? Be something that would that work for the city?
How much land is it over there by the buses?
3 acres. So we'd be giving up 1 3/4 acres. As it lays out right now, this is just a pie in the sky proposal. We're spitballing right now. But this is what Doug kind of threw out there to try and see if he could grease the wheels on it. So we'd be giving up 1 3/4 acres. We'd be picking up 3 acres. And given the value of the various properties from one to the other, I wouldn't be surprised if we picked up cash on that as well. Because the property along 120 is going to be worth a lot more than the property that's sitting back along the gravel pit, at least today. So we'll see how it plays out. So we've asked them to do some more investigation. We haven't committed to anything. We're just seeing if we want to dig at this point in time.
Haven't we done land stuff with the city before?
Well, we did a land swap along Landmark years and years ago. What's that?
And nothing has come of it.
Well, I mean, we still have the land. They have that. The land has changed. We're in no worse position than we were before with that. If nothing comes of this, then we've got 3 acres and they've got 1 3/4 acres, and we got 3 acres by the bus lot that we can use for bus lot expansion if we need to. If that's the worst case that could happen on something like that. If it all plays out and it all looks like something we want to do, and we go ahead and proceed with it. They would be, part of that. There'd be some zoning issues they'd have to change. They'd have to fence that off a little bit, so that way that kind of put the fence between where the gas station is and where the school property is. By retaining the 2.92 acres, just under 3 acres, that's still the long strip, we still retain a buffer between where the gas station would sit and where the driveway is, where the school is at. So we would maintain that, we could maintain a buffer there between the kids and the gas station as well. So there's, again, if we get to the point that we have something that we want to look at, then we'll present that to the board, and we'll have slides and charts and pictures and all that stuff. But based off of what we've talked about right now, it seemed like something that we're getting some more information about and seeing how, if there's something we wanted to go to, bring out a committee to the larger board as a whole.
Any questions for Pat?
Do you have a name on that gas station? Is it Thornton? Or you can't tell it's not? Or you can't tell us?
I don't believe it's Thornton's.
Thanks, Pat. Curriculum?
Curriculum, we had a good packed agenda, starting with park score updates. Individual scores are going to be going home. It was the first year last spring, so we're almost 12 months away from when the tests actually took place. So it's kind of a starting point. It's different than ISAT. ISAT, we had historical data. Park, this is our first year to establish some historical baselines. So kind of the scores are what they are. The district here kind of does well against state averages for this first year. Some of the breakdowns by schools show a fairly decent effort. Again, for the first year, students all tested in a different format. It was all computer-based. So park scores, I think families might get a little more information individually as those reports go home. But district-wide, what's being used, the data kind of just establishing a baseline. Some of the more important information that was talked about were the demographic trends over the past 5 years from 2011. The demographic information that really kind of jumps out are low income. From 2011 to 2015, students in that population have increased 20.6%, whereas the state average is 6.1% as an increase. So it's some challenges that the district has been taking on in the last 5 years. So that type of data is more current and valuable right now. Park will again be given, although the test now is going to go through some changes and it'll be different from what was last spring. So again, being able to compare next year's data with this year's data, kind of who knows what that will bring. But there are a lot of other measures that the district uses to keep track, make sure students are making growth and progress. So that was kind of park.
What percentage of students were meeting or exceeding for the district?
As a composite for the district, if you take now there are 5 levels, where in the past there were 4. We look like 33% of the district would be in that exceeds and met. 34% were in the kind of approach. So if you take approaching and exceeding, it looks like about 67% of the district as a composite. ELA a little stronger than math, but compared to the state, just above in most areas of the state average. Does that help? Any other questions on park? We also talked then about the new website, and it's more than just a website, it's a curriculum platform. The kind of look is going to be more high-tech, streamlined, much better graphics. We switched to a new company that's it's kind of based with. It's called School Wires. It's much more of a school-based platform. It's kind of tiered for what the public can see, kind of our advertising, what the district shows, what everyone can have access to on the main site. Then it kind of tiers off into a curriculum site, the staff development site. It's 3 main layers. It's again that global layer that anybody can access. This is where what Pat was talking about in finance with some of the HR forms. A lot of the forms now are accessible by staff, and now they're the same forms. Everybody has access to the same forms, whereas in a district with 8 schools, sometimes forms over the years change. Now everything is very much same and equal. And then there's a really slick collaborative working area for staff where they can, it's a Google-based, a lot of classroom type areas are set up where staff can join and just access huge amounts of information. I'll touch on one of the other agenda items, the para and student growth. One of those classrooms is dedicated to para, the student growth, and like Pat said, about 80 volunteers kind of initiated that. Now it's up to, we look, there's 180 staff that have access, so about half of the staff have access to all this information with para and the student growth component. And I'll come back to just a little bit more on that. So that's kind of the website. It's more than just a website. It's becoming an integral tool of the communication in the district. Technology update. By the end of the year, Fred stated and pledged that the district will be completely one-to-one, K through 8. Every student, it will be a one-to-one district, so we will hold into that. Give them our hard time. So this year, the focus was with grades 1, 2, and kindergarten. And again, this is about the 3rd year of the initiative, and it started with assessment, wanted to increase quality instruction, and then to make it easier for future curriculum adoptions. And I think we saw a presentation of how that technology is being used, and I'm sure I can go out to some 5th graders that we still have in the audience, and they could probably come up and talk about their Chromebooks and how they use them. So priorities, again, the assessment, the instruction, and then curriculum adoption, working really well. Excited it's, again, become part of what happens here in District 15. Some of the future plans, reaching out for now science, STEM, and STEAM opportunities to kind of complement science beginning in the middle school. And there's a lot of creative ideas to incorporate a lot of robotics, things like Minecraft. Got some attention now out there again in the audience. Things like Lego We Do, just a lot of problem-solving activities, again, technology-based. So that's going to be some things we may hear about in the near future. And then a big thing with the website, with technology, and a focus is the communication with our parents and our public, and what's going to connect to the website in a few months are some links that will give instant access about news, about events, about anything that parents can instant message and alerts, anything that information that needs to get out as quickly as possible will run through the website in these 2 apps. Blackboard is kind of the, I think it's the company that's behind this communication, but that's going to come through this new website platform. Just the focus of all this discussion was just the level of consistency it'll bring, and that our website, they were very excited that this company, School Wires, the kind of crafter of our website, also works with some local award-winning district websites. So now our district will now move into that realm with more awards and accolades this come down the way. That was technology. Did I miss anything?
Can I just mention, kudos to Fred and his staff and to so many folks that are involved in this one-to-one initiative. It's not a small undertaking to do it very well, and I believe now, correct me if I'm wrong, Fred, I think, at least in McHenry County, we're the only school district that's truly one-to-one K-8 fully implemented.
I believe so, yeah.
Which is really quite
I think there might be one other, but they have inconsistencies with the devices per level. We are consistent with a device at every grade level.
Absolutely. We're using Chromebooks K through 8. And it's more than just a tool. Initially, what started us down this path is we were always intrigued by the idea of improving instruction by using technology in a meaningful way. But certainly we were prodded by the state testing requirements and protocols and things we had to have in place so that we would be prepared for taking this part examination online. But as we did that, even though they could be seen as a negative, oh, we have to do this, we have to spend that money, we turned that into a positive because we want to make sure whatever device we chose could be used in such a way that it would not only be durable, but it would enhance learning in the classroom. And if you go into classrooms in District 15, you'll see technology being used as it's intended. It can be a frill, it can be an extra in other places if it's not done well. Here it becomes very much a fabric of the teacher's arsenal and how they use it. It's really quite impressive. And it's changing the culture of our teaching and learning in our school district in incredibly advanced ways. So it's not a small undertaking. It's something that's really has changed how learning is taking place. And I'm more than thrilled that we're getting these devices in the hands of 5-year-olds who we know are probably texting each other in their cribs these days. So they're more than ready for these devices. And the technology is moving faster and faster, and we're taking advantage of that. And we're known as an innovative school district, certainly in the staff development arena, instructional arena, a number of other arenas. But I tell you what, we're really on the map in terms of technology as well, of what we're doing and how we're doing it. So thanks for all your efforts.
Are kids taking home these devices? Are they able to take them home?
Our one-to-one right now is card-based at the moment.
I'm sorry?
Our one-to-one program is card-based at the moment, so they're not taking them home as we have the integration and fusion of these devices are now reaching the kindergarten level. Those conversations can certainly occur. We have found as the assessments have grown, not just from PARC, but from Access 2.0 and now DLM, the amount of updates and things that these companies are now requiring school districts to control on the devices, and certainly being at the elementary level, it's a starting point for us to have them part-based, and those conversations can happen as we bridge the future.
So how are we going to keep up with changing technology?
The great thing about our plan is that we work through a leasing agency, and so our technology is funded on 3-year cycles. The other thing that, so what that means is we look at grades 6 through 8, they're finishing their first 3-year lease as we speak, so they're going to get a refresh this upcoming year. It allows us to have 3 years to pay for the devices, and at the end of that lease, you have the option to buy these devices for pennies to the dollar if you'd like to keep them for longer, or the leasing agent takes them back with free shipping. So it works out to be a really great deal. We do it in 3-year cycles, so we've got 6 through 8, 3 through 5, and K through 2, which is where we're at this year. So it works nicely into the budget, and if you compare it to budgets of the past where we were buying desktop computers across the district, it's actually more feasible as Chromebooks have come down below $200 a device, whereas desktops were left between monitors with just about $900 to $1,000 a desktop. So we're much better off, and I think our environment has changed drastically, but it's been really a great.
Are you done, Paul?
No, it was a good meeting.
Okay.
Para and student growth. Again, this is legislation that was put forth 4 or 5 years ago with the intent of making student growth part of staff evaluations. It's kind of coming to a head now in 16-17 where it becomes part of teacher evaluation, administrative evaluations. Here in 15, it's worked real well with getting a lot of people to kind of pilot, to kind of find some interest because of the relationship that the board, the administration, and then the Teachers Association has with each other. There's a lot of trust with people who are spearheading this. So what it'll entail is about 30% of the evaluation next year will involve a component of student growth. They're still kind of finalizing how it's actually going to look, and that's why a lot of these no-stake pilots this year have gone on. Like already it's been reported, about 80 volunteers, but more than half of the staff has access to all the meeting notes, all the information that's going on through the website. And they're working out things that are working and things that aren't working, and hopefully by about April 28th, they'll kind of have a final document that's kind of put together on how this will all hash out. But it's been several years in the making, with again, conversations, trying it out, seeing what measures of student growth are going to work, which are feasible, which just really don't make sense. And kind of the difference here in District 15 and some other districts is that we're trying to actually find things that are going to be beneficial to teachers in the classroom. It's not just going to be a measure that really isn't meaningful, and that's why so many of the staff here have really taken it to want it to work, because they're finding meaning coming from the data that they're gathering. So that was kind of the para student growth update. Any questions about curriculum? Eric, did I miss anything? I don't think so.
What is the type 1 assessment that this district's using?
We're going to be using type 3 assessments. We're just doing the SLO process for both our assessments, so 2 type 3s.
2 type 3s?
Yeah.
Any questions for Paul? Thanks, Paul. Dr. Wright, do you have a community report?
Community report, yep. This past Saturday at Parkland School, the McHenry Elementary Education Foundation hosted the 10th annual chili cook-off. 155 cups of chili were sold, which meant that there were just shy of 1,400 cups of chili given out, and the foundation made a profit of $775. The money that's raised for this goes right back to teachers through the form of mini grants, student needs, and scholarships. Some results: Duker won the popular tasting vote. McHenry Middle School won the vote for most spirited. And not surprisingly, as members of central office for the past month have been participating in black bean stirring drills, spice adding endurance work, and ground beef browning agility drills. That's how we've been doing things in the last month or so in our central office. We won the blind tasting competition, so the true measure of what a good tasting chili is really all about. So, sorry. This is the 10th year, as I said, so we have some commemorative plaques that we want to give out to all of our schools. A lot of work goes into it by the staff and by the principals. I want to thank all of them for doing that. Also wanted to, she doesn't know I'm doing it, but thank Cindy Newbar, because events like this simply just wouldn't happen without Cindy leading the charge. I think I'm in trouble now for doing that. But if we could have all of our, if we could have a rep from each school to come up to grab their plaque from Cindy for in recognition of being the 10th year.
Duker, Edinburgh, Hilltop.
It's like basketball.
Always next year, the one day you can eat the chin.
Any questions for Dr. Wright? Can I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Mrs. Dyer? Yes. Mr. Hatterman? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Qualls?
Yes.
Mr. Santa Padre?
Yes.
Mr. Syverson?
Yes.
Thank you.